So we're gonna go drink anyway.
Okay.
There you go.
Thank you, Mr. Pfeiffer. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the special meeting of the Bethlehem Zoning Hearing Board. Excuse me, my name is Bill Fitzpatrick, and I'll serve as chair for tonight's hearing. Other members of the board serving tonight from my left are Jessica Lee, Terry Novotny. To my immediate right is Attorney Eric Schock, who will serve as board solicitor and provide legal advice. Craig Pfeiffer, the zoning officer for the city of Bethlehem, is at the far right of the table here. Immediately in front of me is Jean Genova, our court stenographer recorder, who is taking a record of tonight's proceedings. I would remind everyone that we are taking a formal record so that anything that is said, questions or testimony will be made part of the formal proceedings of tonight's hearing. Originally, there were two appeals scheduled for tonight, but I would advise anyone who's with us on live streaming that the appeal of 258 East Market Street has been withdrawn, so there will be only one appeal heard this evening. Since we have no one in town hall with us, I won't go through the procedure of question and testimony unless someone else shows up. But again, I would like to note for the record that anyone aggrieved by the decision the board makes tonight may appeal to either Lehigh or Northampton County Court within 30 days following the issuance of the written decision of the zoning hearing board. And with that,
just Mr. Fitzpatrick, let's just place on the record that,
yes.
And I know the applicant and its counsel know this, but the board is a 5-member board. We only have 3 this evening, but that's a quorum, and all 3 of them will be voting members tonight.
Understood.
Okay, thank you for understanding that. Attorney Preston, can you tell us when the property was posted? Or Mr. Noble?
3-2.
3-2. Okay, thank you. Then can we ask you to please stand so that you may be sworn in?
Raise your right hands, please. Swear by mighty God, center of all hearts, that the testimony that you shall give in this proceedings be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and I do shall answer the God of the law. Please, do you swear?
I do.
Thank you, Susan.
Thank you. Mr. Pfeiffer, can you give us the facts of the case, please?
These properties are located at 200 Wyandotte Street, 201, 205, and 225 Cherokee Street. This is the appeal of John Noble on behalf of NIP Wilbur LLC to erect a freestanding sign on the parcel 200 Wyandotte Street, which requires a dimensional variance to exceed the maximum allowable area, 16 square feet permitted, 18 square feet proposed, and to erect 2 freestanding signs on the parcel 225 Cherokee Street. The sign identifying the apartment development is permitted by right. The sign identifying the adjacent hotel requires variances to permit an off-premise sign and to permit a second sign on the same street frontage. These total record lots are approximately 174,440 square feet, or approximately 4 acres. They are all located within the RG Medium Density Residential Zoning District. Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to add that I did put out on the dais, the applicant did submit additional information about the signs that provide you how they'll look, the colors that they propose to use, and their dimensions.
Thank you, and I believe everyone has them up here. Attorney Schock?
Yeah, so before we get started, Mr. Pfeiffer, did anyone submit comments to you prior to the hearing?
I did. I received 2 emails.
Okay.
I did provide those emails to the applicant, and I did provide them to yourself and to the chairman.
Okay. The board's typical procedure, Mr. Preston, is will accept an objection based on hearsay,
I understand.
which will overrule, but advise the council that we will take them for what they're worth if, as it appears, you would not be able to cross-examine the persons who submitted those comments. Fair enough?
I'll make the objection.
Okay. And the
We're
board,
fine.
usual procedure? Okay.
Understood.
Yep.
Got it.
Thanks.
Attorney Preston, your show.
Okay, good evening. My name is Jim Preston. I do represent the applicant. It's snowing out there and we have pretty much an empty chamber, so I'm going to move quickly. Again, as I sometimes do, no disrespect intended. If you have any questions, just feel free to ask them. Okay, so what we have is a property. You're all familiar with it. It's very close to here. It's right up by the bridge, and just just real quick, if you would take, I'll do this by way of, I'll ask by judicial notice, because what I have here is a copy. This is a record condominium plan. There's a little bit of a quirk here in that your ordinance regulates signage off and on site and so forth, on premise and off premise, in terms of lots and things, which makes sense. I think what may be happening is that we just have a single lot here that's been cut up into condominium pieces. I'm not going to base my arguments per se on that. I just would like to have that be part of the record. So I will mark this plan here as A1. This is the condo plan. So what this plan will do is confirm that it is a lot which has been, for which the individual units, I guess is the correct word, are condominiums. So we're really dealing with the condominiums and condominium units. And just to move the matter along, I'm going to hand up another drawing, which I'm going to mark as A2, which I'll refer to as the plot plan. And I'll wait till that gets up there. This is the one we want to pay attention to right here. Okay, and for purposes of our presentation, we're going to accept Mr. Piper's analysis of lots and so forth, just to sort of move it along. So what you'll see, let me do this. Let me call my first witness, Mr. John Noble. John, you've been sworn.
Yes,
Okay, what's your connection to this endeavor here
I'm the owner developer of the property.
of the property? And the property is what? Who's the owner of the property?
NIP Wilbur LLC.
Okay, now you're familiar with what I just told the board, the fact that it's a lot that was divided into condominiums. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Now, let's take a look at A2. And with respect to A2, first of all, orient for the record the property relative to the surrounding streets.
This is at the corner of Brighton and Wyandotte and Cherokee. I'm sorry. The property is at the southwest corner of Brighton and Wyandotte Street, with the Wyandotte Street condominium unit is the Wilbur Mansion Hotel, Event Center, a restaurant. And then another condominium unit is on the back along Cherokee, which is the Wilbur Hughes apartment.
Okay, and when you say out by front, out by Wyandotte Street at that point, you have frontage along Wyandotte Street, correct?
Correct. We have frontage on Wyandotte
But you don't
Street.
have access to Wyandotte Street, isn't that correct?
That is correct.
So Wyandotte Street, that's a 4-lane limited access highway, at least just north of here.
Yes,
I believe the speed limit is approximately 40 miles an hour. So you get down to where the bridge is and it drops to 30.
yes,
Is that right? And then you come
That's
up
correct.
across that frontage at Wyandotte.
yes,
Is there
correct.
some kind of a wall, retaining wall or something there?
There's actually a concrete wall and sidewalk, so there's no driveways along that street.
Okay, so it's not accessible from there.
Correct.
Isn't that correct? So how do you get to the property if you were traveling up and down Wyandotte Street?
If you're traveling south on Wyandotte Street, you can actually take a right onto Brighton and then go back to Cherokee Street and come into the common drive that serves both condominiums. If you're coming the other way north on Wyandotte, you have the ability to go up, I believe it's 3rd Street, and then go over onto Cherokee Street and go in the back.
And if you're coming south of Miss Brighton, you can go up just up to the corner there where the red light is.
Correct. You can take a right there and then go back to Cherokee Street.
But in every case, you can only enter this entirety of your property from Cherokee Street. Is that correct?
That's correct.
There's 2 uses there. Let's start with the one that's right along Cherokee Street, which on A1 is identified as the proposed 4-story apartment building. I know that might speak for itself, but what's happening there on that particular?
That's actually a 4-story building with 50 apartment units and surrounded by parking for those units.
Is it currently under construction?
It is under construction.
The parking for the apartment building, the traffic patterns and so forth, is there cross parking with the second use, or are they segregated away from each other?
There's a little tiny bit of cross parking along the common driveway. A majority of the parking comes in off of the Cherokee Street main driveway coming into the parking lot in front of the building.
And there's a driveway there. It says, actually, there's a little red triangle there, it says monument sign A3, the Wilbur Views. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, we have an exhibit that we're going to mark here as A3. Let's just give him a second.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
No, thanks.
We already have.
Okay, now, with respect to A3 and monument sign, where it says monument sign A3, the Wilbur Views, I'm assuming if I looked at Exhibit A3, it would be the one in the middle,
Correct. The one with the 225, which is the address on Cherokee Street.
okay? And that's particular to the apartment building.
That's correct.
And do you know what the size of that sign is?
It is 18 square feet.
18 square feet. If I continue, this would be north, I guess, on Cherokee Street, heading down towards Brighton Street.
Correct.
If I get very near the end of your property, there's another driveway entrance, is that correct?
The driveway, yes.
Okay, now let's talk about that driveway. That driveway, if we follow the zoning officer analysis, that driveway actually is on the front parcel, or the parcel that contains the four-story apartment building.
It's on the condominium unit that contains the apartment building.
It's on the
Correct.
unit, right. We're gonna refer to it just for now, and I think we made it clear. We're just gonna call that a lot for now.
Okay.
Even though we're clear that it's a condominium unit.
Yep.
I think it'll just keep it easier. So the front lot that contains the proposed four-story apartment building, right? That also, it carries this driveway that leads to the rear. Is that correct?
Yeah, it carries the driveway that goes down to the Wilbur Mansion Hotel.
And it leads to the parking areas around the Wilbur Mansion
That's correct.
Hotel. And the Wilbur Mansion Hotel itself, that's on another lot, separate lot in the rear. Is that correct?
That is correct.
How is the Wilbur Mansion Hotel able to use this lot if it's not on use this driveway if the driveway's not on its lot?
There is a,
Go ahead.
we're talking to them about lots,
Yeah.
but there is a condominium declaration which has a common driveway, which is the common driveway access that allows us access to the Wilbur Mansion Hotel.
So the driveway over the front lot, the apartment lot, that leads to the rear lot is actually a common element. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So in the parlance of lots, that would be similar to an easement,
Yes.
I guess. So if we're going to adopt the parlance of lots and so forth, the rear lot has an easement over the front lot to get out to Cherokee Street,
That's correct.
even though it's, in legal terms, it's a common element.
That's correct.
So in order to get a sign out here on Cherokee Street to let somebody know that they need to go back this driveway to get to the rear, you couldn't put the sign in the middle of the driveway, could you?
No, you need it right up on Cherokee Street.
Okay, and you need it off the paved area of the
Correct.
driveway, which puts it on the front lot, isn't that correct?
That is correct.
And even though that sign is particular to the use in the rear.
That is correct.
So if I take a look at A3, which of these signs on A3 is proposed to be out here on Cherokee Street?
The first sign that has a designation of 201, which is the numerical entrance that we are using.
In fact, you had to get that changed, didn't you?
Yeah,
Tell
when,
me that.
when we originally were doing this development, the mansion was 202 Wyandotte Street. And after talking to fire department, police department, and how GPS works, we actually switched the driveway designation to 201 Cherokee Street because 202 put you in front on Route 378, and you actually had no ability to get to the building.
So this, if I look at A3, the first sign, 201, the Wilbur Mansion, you intend to put that immediately adjacent to the entrance off of Cherokee Street.
That's correct.
And the obvious question, why do you think you need a sign there?
There's, as you go in and you see the elevation change on the lot itself, the building is way down low. There's almost a 50-foot grade differential there. So as you're driving on Cherokee Street, unless you are literally on top of the driveway, you'd never even know there was an access going down to that building.
And what is the size of that particular sign?
That is an 18 square foot sign.
Okay, and so one of the issues we're dealing with here is two signs along this frontage on a single lot, isn't that correct?
That's correct.
Even though the two signs operate independently as to the uses.
That's correct.
There's a third sign at play, is there not?
Yes,
Why don't you tell us about that? What's that?
that's the identifier sign in the front of the actual Wilbur Mansion that can be seen from Route 378.
Okay, and is that, I'm assuming there's only one left. That's, if I go to A3, that's the sign on the far right.
That's correct.
Okay, and that's how you intend to have them appear, right? And these are, let's talk about the signs for a second. Are these internally lit? What about the nature of the signs? What do they look like? How do they function?
They're panel signs with raised lettering that are not internally lit. They will have some spotlights on them and only them.
So they're freestanding signs?
They are freestanding monument
Will the
signs.
lights that project onto them, will they be shielded so as not to produce
Yeah,
glare?
they'll-
And in particular, we're looking at, let's say, 378.
Yeah, they will be aimed up to the light itself with no spillover.
Okay, and same with the two signs out on Cherokee Street?
Yes, just so when you're driving by at night, you can identify the driveways.
Okay. Now, the, let's see, we put that in. The sizing of the signs, I just want to get to that too. That's another issue, at least for the one on Wyandotte Street there. Wyandotte Street, would you consider that to be an atypical type of frontage?
Atypical.
Well, I mean, it's not, it's not, certainly not what you would see along Cherokee Street where you're driving along
No,
a
it's not.
curb line
It's
and looking at.
correct. It's a little bit faster, a little bit busier.
So it's a busier street,
Yes,
right? There's an elevation change there, is that correct?
that you have approximately a 4-foot high tall concrete wall that's been there for decades.
And if I'm not mistaken, there's a lot happening there. Isn't there an intersection that comes up from the city?
There's a 3-way intersection, plus you have the access to
Signalized?
Brighton, fully signalized. Yes,
Right, and you got the traffic coming down over the bridge,
yes, you do.
and there's other intersections up there that go over the various bridges and so forth.
The access road down into South Bethlehem itself. Yes,
Is it fair to say that's kind of a busy traffic area there?
I'm not sure the exact car count, but it's
Pretty significant.
yes.
Okay. And it's your estimation that if you were to provide this identifier, it would help people to locate the building in a much more safe manner. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And the size of the sign is certainly a function of that.
Size of it, and kept the size in the same consistency that we did with the other two signs.
Right. No, I want to talk, I'm going to get to that next, talking about consistency with the other signs, but also consistency with the area in general. How do your signs, let's start with the one out here, take us around. How do they, or do they blend in with the area? Are they going to be obnoxious in any way? Or are you going to be?
We basically kept with the size that we felt would identify the building and the access points that we needed without being overly obtrusive.
I have no further questions.
Okay, thank you. Questions from members of the board? Ms. Lee,
I have none.
Mr. Novotny.
I have none.
I have no questions either. Attorney Schock, anything you need for the record?
Yeah, just a couple. On the condo plan, there's 3 units.
There's 3 units. Because we have a CRIS designation, the building itself down below at the hotel is a condo unit.
Just a footprint.
Just the
Okay.
footprint. Yeah.
All right. And then I have a question for the zoning officer. Is it only the area of the Wyandotte sign that can't exceed 16, or are all 3 signs in need of a 2 square foot variance, or is it just the Wyandotte Street one? I think, right?
So, pardon me.
Go ahead. Yep, take your time.
So the sign that identifies the hotel, I'm sorry, sign that identifies the apartment development is the one that's permitted by right. The other 2, if memory serves, require the dimensional variance for the 2 additional square feet.
Do you agree, Mr. Preston?
We'll agree with that.
Okay, so sign A3 is permitted to be 18 square foot, and then A2 and B2 need variances of 2 square feet.
I'm sorry, I apologize.
Oh, no, okay, no problem. So just to be clear, sign A3 is permitted to be 18 square feet. and then signs A2 and B2 would need a 2 square foot variance.
Yes. A2 or B2. No,
Is that right?
no, hold on. I don't think I remember. I got to get it off of here.
Because Wilberviews is A3, and that's
he's
the
right.
apartment.
B2 and A2, that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I was looking at.
Okay.
the exhibit. Yep.
And then following along, then sign A2 needs a variance to be the second sign on the lot, right?
Second on the lot, yes.
Okay,
So just for my clarification, the
okay.
one sign's not permitted, so it's not going to have a maximum area. So when you ask me, is it two signs that are requiring the 2 square feet variance, one sign's not permitted.
Okay, so then where does the 16 square foot limit for the one on Wyandotte come
that-
when the 18 would be allowed in the other lot? That's what I'm trying to figure out to make sure I get it right.
Right. So non-residential uses in a residential district may have one freestanding sign at 16 square feet.
Okay.
So
So how does how does sign A3 not need a dimensional
there's
variance?
a particular section that deals with just apartments.
Apartment
that says
signs.
that if the apartment developments have one sign, 1 square foot in area for each dwelling unit in the development up to a maximum of 20 square feet.
Okay.
We're way over
You-
that.
We have 50 units.
50
right.
units.
But you're even 2 square feet under what would be allowed.
You got it.
Okay.
Correct.
Yep.
Okay, so to
Yeah,
be
we
clear.
concur.
Okay, we concur. All right, so A2 needs relief to be the second sign on the lot.
And that would be 1320.08 and part 10, if you're looking for that.
Got it. A3 is permitted at 20 square feet, but 18 requested.
Yes,
A2 needs a variance to exist,
just to be.
to
Yep.
be.
Yep.
B2 needs a 2 square foot variance. And then A2 needs the variance to be the off-premise sign,
An
correct?
off-premise sign, that's
Okay.
correct.
All right, I just want to make sure we've got these all right with the designations. Everybody agree?
Yes,
Yes.
that was
All right.
correct.
Okay, that's all I
Okay.
had then.
Mr. Novotny, you had a,
It was answered.
you okay?
Okay.
Mr. Piper, anything you needed for the record?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Attorney Preston, any other witnesses?
I have nothing. Thank you.
Did you want to make a closing statement or?
No, I think it's pretty evident. It's kind of a unique situation here. And I don't think that, with respect to the signs, I think it's almost de minimis, the relief that's being requested, and I think it's reasonable. So I would just ask that the board
All right, thank you.
allow it to go forward.
Do you want to go outside?
Guys, well,
Why don't we go outside just for a second? Kane, we're going to go off the record into executive session, please. Yeah, I wish the devil would put that screen in.
I'll just give you a call. But how you doing? You tell me. I must be bored.
He told you that, huh?
No. Let me see what I'm saying here.
Gene, I'd like to go back on the record, please. May I have a motion from a member of the board?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the appeal of John Noble to erect the freestanding signs with the following conditions, that they are constructed as shown on Exhibit A3 and have only external illumination.
Accepted.
May I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Ms. Lee,
Yes.
Mr. Novotnik,
Yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good luck with the project. I suspect putting up signs is small
That's the
potatoes
smallest
after
part.
what you've been through.
It's not the
So
worst thing for people to know
Well,
what's
again,
there.
good luck with it.
Thank you.
Having no other business before the board, this meeting is adjourned.